What's up, everybody? Hi, happy Sunday. How is everybody doing? It's 90 Day Fiance Sunday. We are live. We're going to talk about episode 7 of Before the 90 Days. Um, Kara's going to be joining soon. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. This episode was kind of crazy, to say the least. This episode was a little wild. So, also, if you're in Canada, I was told that today is Thanksgiving. So, happy Thanksgiving to all of our guys. Is Thanksgiving. I didn't know you got it before us. Thanksgiving is a good holiday because there's a lot of food. So, um, Kara's here. Let's get Kara in here. Kara, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? I'm fine. I just wanted to mention the hurricane. I didn't lose any power.
That's
So,
great.
and I know because there's people that are in my area that just got their power back today.
Wow.
So I'm super lucky, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
really lucky. I'm happy. But the people that are going through the recovery and stuff, I feel so much for them right now because
Yeah.
I know friends of mine, their houses were flooded and everything. But
Yeah.
so tonight, episode 7, we saw Renee at her true character, right? Like I feel like we saw Renee at her true character, and it was really, really ugly, right? It was a really nasty interaction. The way that she spoke to these people in their home, right? Like it really made me think about who she is as a person. The way, and she said something weird. I have it written down. Something along the lines of when the Earth began, it wasn't a program.
Yeah.
Or like she was saying really strange things, and I was just trying to understand what was going on. And I know she believes in aliens, and I know she's not very religious, and I know that and I don't knock anyone. I remember Sam's dad from the previous season. He wasn't religious. He believed in aliens and UFOs and all that, whatever. But the way that she was speaking to him, making his religion seem small compared to her beliefs, it just, everything about the scene just showed me who she is, right? When you look at someone and then you look at them differently because you can see into their soul. And I was like, you're just a really ugly, nasty human being, the way you're talking to these people.
She is a nasty human. Like, I'm so horrified by her actions. And the shit she says, like, you'll never see me again. Don't say that stuff to your blind boyfriend, first of all.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. You know what? That was a really nasty insult to injury statement. You know what? I didn't even click that. Telling someone you'll never see me again, obviously when they're blind is insult to injury. I didn't even catch that, but knowing her, she meant it in an ugly way, right? Because she was obsessed with his eyesight, right?
Yep. She is the devil on another level. Like, you can see the evil coming out of her face when she's yelling at him. Also, another thing that really bothered me is good on Chitty's sister for defending him, first of all.
Yeah.
But why are you screaming when you're holding that little baby?
Well, I felt like, because I think her husband walked in on the situation first, right? And see, in my opinion, I think that they do. I'm going to agree with Renee on this. They look at Shitty as like a child who needs to be looked after because of his ailments.
Yeah.
He can't see, and they worry that he can't take care of himself. So I kind of feel like they jumped up and ran to defend him. But I did see the baby was there. That shouldn't have been done in front of the kids. But sometimes when you're in the moment, right, and you feel like
I get that, and I'm not even so much on the mom as her. You're screaming at this child's mom in front of this child. She has no class. This woman, she is the devil.
Well, I just didn't like how she was talking to them in their home, and she kept saying like, "Oh, well, you're a grown man. You can make decisions on your own. You don't need your sister's permission." And again, his situation is different, right? Like he can't just get an apartment and live on his own. That would be very difficult in the area. Like in the U.S., you can do that as a person who can't see. There's accommodations and ways that you can live your life without having help. But where he lives, like we saw the marketplace where he lived, him going out alone would result in him dying.
Yep.
The dangers are just there. There's nowhere for pedestrians to go. There's cars everywhere. There's people everywhere. There's no lines in the street. There's just craziness. So I think that she has zero sympathy for his situation.
Yeah.
And she was just belittling him, like, well, what do you need to talk to your sister for? Oh, I'm looking for a real man. So now he's not a real man
Yeah.
because he needs to consult with his caregivers before he goes and runs off to a hotel with you. And it's like, yeah, he's an adult. Yeah, he's a grown man, but his situation is not the same as a grown man who could see, right? Or lived on his own. And I feel like she didn't give him any sympathy or compassion for his situation. And that just made me feel like she's really cold. So like you're treating him like him needing help is an issue, but you knew that he needed help. You knew that he wasn't able to do these things on his own. And that was what attracted you to him in the first place. Because she said over and over, well, if you weren't blind, we wouldn't be together. And then she turned around and used him being blind as a reason why she didn't like him anymore. And I felt like it was just so hypocritical.
It's more abuse TLC is promoting. Not only is this verbal abuse, but if this relationship did make it, and we know, thank God it didn't, but if it did, the way she's in his face with her finger pointing and all that stuff, it would get violent. It would get physically violent.
Did you see Renee went and tried to get in Victoria's face, and Victoria's husband got in between them. And again, Victoria's holding a baby.
Yeah.
So she wants to get in her face, put her finger in her face, and escalate the situation. Which I think is really stupid on her part, because have you ever noticed when you go to other countries and you behave like an idiot, you normally end up in some foreign country jail that you can't get out of? Because it's not like the US where you go and act stupid or get drunk and get a disorderly conduct and they let you back out. That's not how it works. There's been people who went over to other countries and acted a complete idiot, and then they were in jail for months.
Yes.
It's not, their systems are different. So for her to go over there and try to pick fights with these people and try to get physical with these people, it just shows me her lack of respect for countries, cultures, people in general. She kept saying, like, I have a thing against sisters. I'm like, so what? Every sister, every woman that has a sibling is someone that you hate in the whole freaking world?
Right.
Like, I've never heard anyone say anything like that before. They're like, that I have a thing against sisters. And I was like, what does that even mean?
Also,
what do you mean you have a thing against sisters?
We can't discount the fact that she is a mother. She has two very young children who are going to see this shit and just be like, oh my gosh, how embarrassing. But also, if she has custody of those kids, now bio dad, has actual footage of how crazy she is. So that may play in his favor.
Well, yeah, she's only setting herself up, right? Yeah. Like I tell people all the time, you want to go on TV and do something ignorant. I always bring up that Amber Portwood and Gary story. She punched her fiance on TV while he was holding a baby, and they used the footage to put her in jail for a year.
Yeah.
So like, you want to go on TV and act stupid and you think that it's all fine, it's all fake, no, you'll probably ruin your life, right? Like, because it never crossed Amber's mind when she was punching her fiance on TV while he was holding their infant daughter that she was going to spend a year and a day in jail, but she did, right? I mean, because it's all the proof that you need. And a lot of people are saying that with Angela and Michael. They're like, all the proof that they need has been documented and edited and perfect. It just, all you have to do is hit play and it speaks for itself. So she went on TV and acted an idiot, and now she's going to have to live with the fact that she made herself look like a psychopath.
Absolutely.
On TV, and everyone's going to believe it. And if she denies it, it's like, well, we have video. We see you doing it.
Yes. She's going to get, she's already getting dragged all over the internet. She started the season with an Instagram. That Instagram is no longer.
Wait, the Instagram is gone?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that. When did this happen? Recently?
Apparently within the last week, because it's not there.
So she's getting it. It only takes so long, right? Like a lot of people, they think they're strong and they're ready for these shows and to be on TV, and it only takes overnight. People remember Brian? Everybody was like, "Oh, Brian, he seems like such a good guy, and I feel bad for him because of his situation." And then we got to know him, and now we're like, scumbag. Yeah. Like it only takes one episode.
He's a piece of shit.
Wait. Before we get into that, I want to talk about Niles and Matilda, because they did not have sex. I think we were talking about this last week, and we thought he was probably going to go through with it. They didn't. Matilda was a little disappointed, but he revealed to us that his last relationship was sexually driven. It
Yeah.
was like that was the main aspect of the relationship. And it sounded like he was dating Jasmine because he
Yeah.
said that he expected sex 6 times a day,
Yep.
which I'm pretty sure, I'm positive Jasmine said that exact same thing. So I don't know if they were dating or not, but he said that it got to the point where there was no real communication. It was just sex. So I think that Niles is a very mature person, and I think that, you know, not jumping in the bed with a person the first day you meet them was good, but she was disappointed. Oh, and I want to talk about the dress shopping because they went over in Ghana and found an $80 dress. I thought everything over there was cheaper. Like, I thought it was more affordable. What
They
did they
would
do?
specify if it was US dollars or not.
Well, she said dollars because he was
Yeah.
like, how much in US? And she said $80. She's like, it will come out to be 80. I was like, that's crazy because we were watching Lauren in the Philippines and he was buying stuff for like 40 cents.
Right.
So it was just wild to me because when we went to see him pick out a ring, he picked out a ring and it was like 3,500 their money and $290
Yeah.
our money. I was like, see, that's way better because, you know, in the US, you're not going to find a $290 engagement
But
ring.
also,
So I was like, so
why is he buying a freaking ring when he doesn't want to get married?
okay, so my theory is to soften the blow. I think he said this too. He's like, when I tell her we're not going to get married, if like the consolation prize is an engagement ring,
Yeah.
she's less likely to knock the crap out of me.
Right.
Right. So I think that he's like, well, you know, when you take something away. Okay, so I've seen this like at a zoo, like when they want to take something from an animal, they take it away, but then they hand the animal like a piece of meat or
Yeah.
a snack or so it softens the blow. Not that she's an animal, that was just a weird metaphor, but I just feel like when she has a wedding plan that over 200 people are supposed to be at, so when he calls that off last minute, a diamond, you know, a girl's best friend, I think that's going to make it a little better so she doesn't just tell him to get back on the plane and leave. That's my
But I don't think he realizes how far into the wedding planning she is. I think he thinks right now it's just talk.
Well, I think that the wedding is planned. People are already planning. She said people are coming from sides of the family. That means that they don't live in this vicinity, the area that they're in. I don't think that calling it off is a good idea. Once you set a date, tell people to be there, you send out invitations, it's not in your best interest to call it out. Not if he likes being alive.
Right.
You know, women take that very seriously because even if he calls it off and says they're going to get married at another time, you know, she's going to look at it as my family thinks that I got stood up or left at the altar. He doesn't want to marry me. And no woman ever wants to have to live with that. Right? People say, oh, remember you invited me to your wedding and then he canceled it on you. Like, I think that he should have told her before he got on a plane, because now that over 200 people are coming, I don't think you can cancel an event. You know, even if they're having it at their house, you know, you can't tell people that.
But his parents aren't on board. Like, I just don't feel like he's going to go through with it. I just don't.
I think that he's giving into pressure. And I think that he wants to make her happy. Like he said, like tonight, he was like, when I saw the dress was $80, he said, my first mind said, there's no way in hell I'm buying this. Mm-hmm. And then he was like, well, I don't want her to be mad at me, so I'm going to do it. I think that I don't want her to be mad at me is going to influence a lot of his process while he's there. And I agree. And I don't know, I think he's going to do something stupid. Like, honestly, because I know that he feels that she's the one and his last relationship didn't go the way he wanted it to and he's navigating differently. And I think that she's going to give him an ultimatum or get really pissed off or mad and he's going to get terrified and he's just going to give in, you know, because he's a people pleaser, right? He's definitely a people pleaser. He wants to make everybody happy.
I just don't think it's going to happen. I mean, he's a people pleaser. I think she's going to scare the ever-living shit out of him and he's going to turn around and run back like he should. But I think that's what's going to happen. I just can't see that he's going to go through with it. I mean, he made the comment about, I hope that, you know, I don't know if she thinks all Americans are rich, but I'm not, kind of thing. Didn't know anything about the bride price, none of that. He had no clue about a dowry. So, like, I just don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, it could be a technicality because if they have the meeting, she said the two families meet, and that's when they give the bride price and the list. and he doesn't have the money.
Yeah.
Because I know they're not going to allow the ceremony to go on without money in hand, right? I hate that they do that over there. Like, I don't agree with it at all. But like, it's a money in hand, cash over anything when it comes to these situations. We saw it with David and Annie.
Yeah.
You know, they really pulled strings because, you know, David didn't have the money and they let David marry her and make payments. That's very rare.
Like, God, what was their name? Akini, and I can't remember his name, but he did a full-on negotiation. They were like, you know, it's going to be X amount of dollars, and he's like, well, I don't have that. Will you take this much? Where David was able to like make payments essentially, but Akini's husband was literally bargaining through the whole thing.
Well, they say that you can, because remember when Emily and Kobe went through theirs, they said that the parents meet and it's literally a back and forth conversation. You're allowed to bargain, but again, it doesn't make you feel good.
Right.
Bargaining for your child, you know, it doesn't make you feel good. Like, you feel like your child is worth the world, and then you have these people counter offering you, you know, a lower amount. It doesn't make you feel good. I can't imagine that that's a very comfortable conversation for anybody involved. Like, I would never want to be a part of that. Like, oh, you offer this amount, then they come back with this amount, and it's like, this is a person that you both adore, right? Like, both sides of you both adore this person, and then you're like, well, what's the lowest that you'll take? You know, like, it makes sense. When I go buy a car, I enjoy negotiating, but when it's a car, it doesn't can't talk. It doesn't have feelings. I'm not gonna feel bad. It's not gonna yell at me on the way home. Like, a person, I would feel so bad and wrong discussing like, a monetary value of a person. So and she won't even give him an idea, and I get it, they leave women out of the situation because Matilda's like, I don't know what they would ask for. And they said the same when it came with Emily, because Emily was like, how much? And he's like, well, women aren't present. You know, they're not a part of this. So she really doesn't know. And if they think he's rich, they might start really high, right? Like, I think that for Emily's, it was like, what, $60 or $6? I don't remember. It was something really low, right? I remember the bride price was really low.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I can't with the whole bride price thing, but I just don't think he's going to go through with this wedding. I just don't.
I hope he doesn't. It's an impulsive thing, right? Like, look at Tiger Lily. She impulsively married this man, and now she's realizing, oh shit, I married a complete stranger who I don't like. And it's like, but she has her moments too. Like, Tiger Lily is like pissed off and angry, she doesn't like him, and then like she blinks, and then she's like happy and smiling. Even her friends, everyone's confused by her lack of stability on one feeling. Like, the whole time they were driving to Petra, she's angry, she's upset, she gets out of the car, she's upset, and then 10 minutes later, they're fine. And it's like, those are the people I worry about, because that means you're bottling things up.
Yes.
And you have to let things out. So if things bother you and you never say anything, you never have a conversation, you never argue, you never yell, at some point you're going to blow up.
Absolutely.
And who knows what you're going to do, right? Like, who knows what you're going to do? You're going to be at your...
But also with Tiger Lily, if all it takes is putting her on a camel with the same eyelashes as her and she's good, then I don't think you have any worries. But let's be real. So you bring her to the United States, or she comes back to the United States, and he's there. You're his first relationship. Obviously, quote, you know, the first time he's ever had sex, which I don't believe that, but first time he's ever had sex, he's madly in love with you. You have to go home to your kids. And then after the fact, you say, I didn't think about it. I never thought about it.
Well, did you notice that she never brought up her kids either? Because he's supposed to be coming back to the U.S. I don't think he's ever, like, met them. Like, is she worried about how the relationship between her kids and him are going to go?
Right.
Like, it was never even a conversation.
You have no idea if your kids are even going to like this guy. I mean, for crying out loud, he's like, what, 8 years older than your kids?
Well, actually, yeah, when you put it like that, yes. He's basically their older sibling when you put it like that. And I think that her blind hope worries me, because she's just like, oh, we have all these issues, but we love each other. And I was like, well, lots of people loved each other and things didn't work out. Like, I just think she's blind to the issues and the problems. And that might be why, you know, she had such a long, unhappy marriage the last time around. Right.
Well,
I think that, you know,
it's like tonight. Okay. So they just get married. And then what is this their honeymoon? You take me to ride a camel, and then now I have to go back to the United States. And oh
Yeah.
shit, I didn't realize that when I go back to the United States, you stay here.
Well, yeah, they didn't think about that. Oh wait, someone's photo mom says she mentioned getting a new house for them to live in. She did mention that, but she said I want to get back and look for a house for us to live in so you'll have more space. She still never brought. I think what bothers me is she doesn't say how she's going to be implementing her kids into their life. Like usually a mom
Right.
would be like, you know, the house I'm in now is just enough room for me and the kids. So I'm gonna get a new house so we can all live together. Like she omits them almost like he doesn't know about them, and he clearly
Yeah.
has to know. Like there's no way he doesn't. But the fact that she just doesn't talk about them, it's weird.
But
You know, because they're
then
gonna be 100.
she also said we just got married, all this stuff, and we didn't even think about a spousal visa. Isn't that something that you would think about before all of this?
Yes, yes, because
And there's literally, this is like the most botched story that they've ever done. It's like, oh, we'll just throw this in here, and then you guys can get married, and then you can come back, and then we'll figure out how to get him to the United States. Oh yeah, and then we'll introduce your kids. Like,
yeah,
none of this makes sense.
I'm confused at all of it, and if he's here, not here, I haven't been able to figure it out. I've been looking online. I'm curious. I haven't seen anything. We know Sarper's here. We'll talk about
Yeah,
that tomorrow. We know he's here. He's in Panda Express of all
I know.
places. So, but I want to talk about um Vanja. I don't know if I'm saying her name
I
right.
don't know if I,
Vanja, right? Vanja.
yeah.
But she was introduced tonight. And she's with a guy named Boja. I read it as Bozo, but apparently it's
Yeah,
not a
me
Bozo.
too.
He's not Bozo. He's Boja, and her story. There's lots of different layers to her story. Like I heard about her life before she got to the U.S. and all of the things she went through. I think she's from Bosnia and living through a war, and her story is just
Yeah,
insane. And then we found out that she's been a 6-year born again virgin. Like she has not been in a sexual relationship with anyone in 6 years. And then the last person that she was dating, she found out he was cheating on her by walking in and finding him cheating on her. Then we found out that Boja, while they were dating, just ghosted her and then called her one day and said, I'm dating someone, and that was it. And then 2 months later calls her back and it's like, oh yeah, let's try it again. I'm not dating anyone. So I already feel like this isn't going to be a good situation. And then she calls him from the airport to say, hey, I'm about to start my 17-hour journey to Croatia to see you. And you don't pick up. And I'm
yeah,
just like, I was like, this is wild. There's no way I would get on an airplane to go see someone that's 17 hours away and they won't even take my call.
yep,
There's no chance in hell. So I'm worried about her, you know, because I was like, man, 17 hours. He won't pick up the phone. And then first of all, he's a basketball player that lives with his mom. So I have like 500 questions,
me too.
right? Because one thing about our NBA, they pay those boys a lot of money. The girls too, the WNBA, they pay them a lot of money. They don't need to live with anybody.
Yep.
So he's a 38-year-old basketball player. And I'm beginning to think he just plays basketball at the local court.
Yes.
That's what I was like, so wait, you mean to tell me you play basketball professionally, but you live with your mom? And then they showed him in the preview for next week. He looked like he was just at an outdoor neighborhood court.
Yes.
I was like, so I think that he's not being honest with her about a lot of shit. So then I was like, how much money is she sending him? That was like you know where my mind goes. It always goes straight to the money. I was like, what is he asking her for? Because this is a 38-year-old basketball player who lives with his mom. Explain to me what you're asking from her and what she's giving.
Yeah. But then she also says, well, we'll see if we click when I get there. Like, you don't even know if you click. He's already dumped you. You don't know if you click. The only thing this woman's missing is kids to leave behind to fit into this season.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
This season has been a lot of people uprooting their lives
Also,
for a pipe dream. Wait, what?
she's in Orlando, so
Yeah, she's actually not far from me.
mm-hmm.
Actually, we talked a little during the hurricane just about, you know, our prep and stuff. She's actually really sweet.
Yeah.
But this situation that she's in, I have nothing like, what's the word? I have nothing hopeful to say. If that makes it like, I'm
Yeah.
not hopeful. Like I'm entering in it with like logics, and it's like this isn't
Right.
gonna work. And hey, Kana, I'm just really, really worried about her in general because I feel like she's one of those people that would give anything for anyone. You know, like if
Yes.
someone asked her for something, she would give it without asking. And I feel like those are the people that get take advantage of the most. And
Absolutely.
I think that she's flying over there and she's someone's, Portuguese, Gina says he's another Sean. Did you get that vibe? Do you feel like he's a guy who's been using women to get what he wants? Do
Well,
you feel like that?
I mean, not only are we using women, but we're living in mom's basement. Like, come on.
At 38.
Yeah.
38, and it's
He's
like if you're not
adulting.
making money as a basketball player, get a job. Basketball is a hobby for some people. Like for me, basketball will be a hobby. No one's gonna pay me to do that.
Just
So
like
you know,
Sean, Sean's a fighter, lives with his mom. He's a basketball player, lives with his mom.
I mean, you can't take a hobby and say it's your occupation. Your
Yes.
occupation has to house you, feed you, and leave money in the bank for you to do
Yes.
things. And I think it's weird because usually, okay, so I don't want to get stereotypical, but 90 Day Fiance, typically when it started out, it was sucker men who were usually in a situation where a woman was trying to take advantage of them and get like a lifestyle. Remember Larissa? Everybody
Yep.
was like, "Oh my God, Larissa! She's trying to take advantage of Colt."
Oh
And
my
then she
gosh.
got here.
Are you watching House of Villains?
I am. I am
Okay.
watching House of
You
Villains.
said
Did you watch it?
Larissa, and I just had to ask you.
Okay, yeah. I don't want to say what happened, but yeah, I'm
Yeah.
I'm 2 episodes
Yep.
in, and I am watching it. And Larissa,
Yep.
yeah, Larissa,
Yep.
I'm very. She has not changed a bit,
Not even.
and I know she's really good. So yeah, I am watching that. But it's funny. Hey Armando,
Hi, Armando.
Kenny, say hi to Kenny. So I'm just really hold on, we were talking about Vanja. Oh yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm really worried about her and the situation because we're watching this new era of like dudes scamming girls,
Yes.
which is not what we started out with when this series started. It was men who were suckers, who were
Yeah.
getting suckered, you know, and bringing women over here and then getting taken advantage of. Colt was a good example because when Larissa got here, she realized that Colt didn't have any
Right.
money. She didn't know that, and she didn't realize that Debbie was going to be a part of the package, and things blew up pretty fast. But you know,
Yeah.
look at Anfisa. Anfisa came over and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get 1,500 a week allowance, and I'm gonna get all this money. I'm gonna all these green cards." So now we're watching the men assume the role of scamming the women, and the unsuspecting women looking for love are now the ones, you know,
Right.
in that position. It's just
Yeah. This is
an interesting,
this
it's an interesting turn, right?
this isn't gonna age well.
No, you're right. This isn't. This is gonna look really bad. But okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, Ingrid's friends met Brian and they liked him for the most part, which is funny because I said this on Twitter. I was like, well, I liked him too at first because Brian is a master at getting people to like him by giving you little to no information about him. So like he creates this character of a likable, funny guy that he introduces to everyone, and everyone is like, "Oh yeah, Brian this, Brian that," and her friends were like, "Oh yeah, we like him. We think he's great." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I don't like him, but I know more than you. You know, like I
Yeah.
know more than you, so I have more information to go off of. So you'll eventually not like him either." So things were going well. They went back to the hotel. He gave her a massage. Things got heated. He brought some lingerie. And then, of all things, he didn't have a condom, which strikes me as really interesting because he told her friends, Ingrid's friends, he's like, "Oh well, normally I meet women and we have sex the very first night. You know, that's the first thing we do to get it out of the way. You know, but we are taking our time." So I was like, so a guy who's used to having sex immediately after meeting people comes all the way to Brazil with no condoms. The
Yep.
whole thing was just weird to me, right? Did you find that to be
And
strange?
he literally said that it's every time he goes to Brazil, there's always a woman waiting. Like, yuck. I seriously just want to put him at the top of the hill and let go.
Well, I'm beginning to think that when he comes to, well, the way that he told the story, it made me think this is a legend. This is just in my mind. I'm creating it. It might not be true, but he's like, every time I come to Brazil, I'm having sex with women. And I was like, because remember, he called Ingrid a prostitute, a hooker, in one of his videos. That, well, he was driving someone on Uber. and someone recorded it, and he said that about her, and she responded she's not, which I believe her. I don't think she is. Honestly,
Absolutely.
I don't know her,
I
but
don't.
I just don't. I don't believe that. But I do think he goes to Brazil. He's been over there over 30 times. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that he goes over there and he has women that he's going to be having sex with. I
Yep.
think that it's lined up. He sets it up through some sort of app or whatever you do. And I think that's why he's there.
Yep.
So I think that it's interesting that he showed up there with no condoms. I think that that was a weird thing to say. And yeah, I know he used one for the catheter, but you can buy a box, right? Like, okay,
Literally.
so if he brought that lingerie for her to wear, what would you purchase with the lingerie? Condoms,
Right?
right? Because
Obviously.
what do you think is going to happen when you give her the lingerie? Like, we're not dumb, like,
Yeah.
so the whole situation was just odd to me.
Yeah. It's everything about it is so off. But the fact that he got mad at her because she said no, I'm
Well,
just mm,
he said that she was like, hold on, be patient, whatever. And then he jumps out of the room and leaves. And it's like, well, if she's not ready or doesn't feel comfortable, then that's her choice. You can't get mad at somebody for how they feel. Feelings are something that we can't control,
yep.
right? Like, people can have panic attacks, they can feel angry, upset, sad, creeped out. She should feel creeped out. That
Absolutely.
whatever feelings you have, you can't control them. They're a part of your body, your mind. You can't do anything about that. So the way that he treated her, it was almost like, she doesn't want to have sex with me, so now I'm pissed off. And it's like, well, she's not a hooker, bro.
Yeah.
Like, she's not a hooker. She doesn't have to. If she doesn't want to, if she doesn't feel that that's where she wants to take this, it doesn't have to go that way. And if you don't agree, then you don't believe in women's decision to choose. Like, if she just, I don't understand. Like, you could have an amazing date. I hear people tell these stories all the time. They go out, they have fun, they have a good time. The guy asks to come inside. She says no.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we had a good time. That's irrelevant.
Yep.
It's irrelevant if you had a good time. It's irrelevant if you think that you're connecting. If you've only known this person for 6 hours, she doesn't have to have sex with you.
Yeah.
And I think men really do need to get that through their heads. They're like, oh, but we're vibing. Yeah, for 4 or 5 hours since you've known each other. Like, calm down. Why do you think that women owe you sex because you had a good time on a date? Like, I think that he's definitely single and been married 4 times for a reason, and I think it's all him. He has, like, so many qualities about him that are so weird and
He
creepy.
gives me the ick.
I
Like he
know,
gives
it's just, I think what really got me for him was he was just so good at not giving enough information, and those people scare me because they
yeah.
don't want you to make an educated, smart decision, so they purposely take the information away from you. And I don't like that, because I think that's taking advantage of people. Like, in order for you to make a good decision, you need all the information set out in front of you. And I think if you want to be in a relationship that's going to last, you need to tell people who you are, where you were, what you did, all of that stuff. And
Absolutely.
the way that
How
he
did it not come up? The whole how he got paralyzed, how he got shot, why he got shot, where he got shot, the fact that he was a drug dealer, all that stuff should have been disclosed during your FaceTime meetings and
Yeah.
all of that. So
Oh, fun fact. The ex-wife that hired the men to attack him she was in prison for 7 years
oh nice.
for this situation. One of the men also did time, I think 3 years, and then another man they were unable to locate. I did find that information online. So she did 7 years for that. I guess you would call it like it wasn't a murder for hire, because apparently she never asked them to kill him. She
Well, he
wanted
said
them.
carjacking.
Right. Okay, so he was driving a van, and the van belonged to a car dealership that he worked at. So she wanted them to attack him and steal the van and destroy the van. And in turn, she wanted him to get fired from the car dealership. That was her motive. Her motive was
Gotcha.
never to get him shot or paralyzed or any of that. She just wanted to ruin the situation that he had. He had a good job at a dealership, which was interesting because he was probably using the dealership. This is alleged, by the way, to funnel drugs, right? Because I was
Yes.
like, I didn't even think he had a regular job, but he did. So her goal was actually just to get him fired from the dealership. She didn't actually want anything bad to happen to him. And this was in retaliation to the fact that he was cheating on her with a younger girl, a younger woman or whatever.
Yep.
So that was the whole situation with that. So that's the story that I don't think he still actually told her all the full truth still.
Yeah.
because I had to go digging online just to find what really actually happened.
Yeah.
He only gives you, it's like a puzzle piece, right? You know, when you're putting piece together a puzzle,
Yes.
he gives you like one piece at a time. It's like a 500-piece puzzle, but he gives you one piece,
Yes.
and you're just supposed to figure it out from that. And it's like, I need more than that. I can't figure out what the hell you're talking about with one damn puzzle piece.
And
so it's like, I don't like
center pieces. You don't even get the corners or the edges. It's all center bullshit.
Yeah, you're right. Wait, you have a good read on people. I used to think that I did, but I've actually had people that got over on me. So I used to think that I could read people good photo mom, but I have had people that got over on me. But oh wait, there's somebody else we need to talk about. Oh, Lauren is back. Lauren was back tonight. Faith eventually went back to his room to give him a chance because he was texting Faith like, we need to talk, whatever. She agreed to go to his room. She wouldn't go in the room, thank God, but she wanted to go out and have a conversation. And she said she was hurt. She did get off her chest, you know, what she needed to say, which I thought was very important. You know, she was like, so how many times were you having sex? Apparently he was having sex with random people a minimal once a week. And
I just can't believe that there's more than one person. I can't believe there's one person, but people that want to sleep with this guy. This is so gross.
Apparently in Las Vegas, people are just sleeping with people. Because, yeah, you know, it's like, I don't know what's super, super appealing. No offense, Lauren. I think you're,
All
you know.
offense, Lauren. You're it.
Right. Like, but there's nothing like super, like, if someone told me that Sean from The Other Way was sleeping with random people every week, I could buy that. I've seen the comments on the pictures about Sean. One of the women asked him to sit somewhere in the vicinity of their face. Yeah. Okay, so I've seen the comments. So if somebody told me that Sean was banging random women every week, probably, you know, like that's not far-fetched. But Lauren, it was a little much for me. I was like, oh, Vegas is a different place. You know, this is different. There's people that are interested in just whatever, you know. So apparently also he said that he wants to be monogamous now, which I think is bullshit. Because if he wanted to be monogamous, he would have been monogamous this whole time. The second he gets back on the plane and goes back home, we know what's going to happen. We know that he's going to keep sleeping with random people. If you've been doing that for a long time, it would be very difficult for you to stop. That's like saying you've been smoking cigarettes for 5 years, but you're just not going to smoke anymore. Like, you're not going to change. Right. This is just what he needs to say to get Faith, you know, back on board with dealing with him. And then in the preview, we found out that, first, Faith said that she will not introduce him as her boyfriend to her parents, which I love how smart she is. That's very smart. This is just some person that she's talking to. Do not introduce this man to your parents. This is not a long-term thing. But she also said that, what we saw in the preview, he's like saying bullshit to her to try to get her soft spot open to him moving to her country. Because he's like, well, what if I bought you and your family a house? And I'm like, you don't have a house. I was like, literally. You don't even have.
Yes. I thought the same thing. I'm just like, oh my gosh. My heart breaks for her. I feel so sad for her. You can see, I mean, you know, in a lot of these episodes, a lot of the scenes, you can see where producers have told them to say things and the way that they're acting and this and that. Everything coming out of this girl is heartfelt and genuine. Like, she is hurt. She's truly hurt. And I feel so sad for her. I hope she gets away from him. I hope she gets a good man. I hope she doesn't get gonorrhea. I hope all that stuff. But I hope that he gets everything else that he's got coming.
I just think that what's worse for me is I know that all of her future relationships and how she trusts people, men in general, are gonna be based on this man. Because, you know, we're only as strong as our last or previous relationships or our previous trauma, because those things haunt us for a long time. And if this was her first relationship, she's not going to trust anybody. You know, she's going to have issues with trust and love and probably sex too, because he's a cheater. He almost gave her an STD. So now she's going to, you know, the next guy, you know, she's going to be super cautious. And then some men don't want to wait. They don't want to take it slow. They want to move, you know, fast. So she might be screwed out of good relationships because of the shitty situation that she was in. Because, you know, what we experienced, that lasts for a long time. Yeah. You know, and for this being her first long-term relationship, it's gonna mess her up for a while. You know, you're not gonna trust people. And then Lauren, who's probably a good liar, right? Like I feel like he was lying pretty well because when he told her that he was cheating, she really was surprised. You know how when some people, like if Sarper was to tell Shekinah he was cheating on her, nobody, including Shekinah, would actually be surprised, right?
Yeah.
Like we would be like, well, yeah. But Lauren was
Right.
probably lying to her and convincing that this was real and this was a real relationship. And I think that that's what mind screws people. When people get inside your head and you believe and you trust them and then you're really blindsided, that's what really hurts.
But you know, he says stupid shit like, oh, I told her that we were sleeping together and she thought actually sleeping. So if that's what she thought, you led her to believe that. Like that's not just where your mind automatically goes, oh, they spent the night together, they must have cuddled. I mean, that's, you just don't go there. So it's that I'm just, oh, he makes me sick. Makes me sick. And I'm
I
more
think,
angry by the fact that he hurt her so bad.
well, I think he also used the language barrier to his advantage. Because he's
Well,
like,
you
well,
know, and
I told you that I was sleeping at this place. And I'm like, well, yeah, you can sleep somewhere without having sex with somebody. I think he used the language barrier to his advantage. Like if there was confusion, he didn't bother to explain it.
yeah,
And he used that
yes,
to his advantage. Some people definitely do that. When you have someone who English isn't their first language, right? And you're trying to have a conversation with them, we say things. I remember I was talking to someone and I said something along the lines of two birds with one stone, something that we say, and they couldn't for the life of them understand what I was trying to say. I was like, I
right.
didn't even realize there's a barrier, even for people who speak English well. There's things that we say that don't make logical sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So when he's like, well, I told you I was sleeping, and you know, so for somebody who learned English as a second language, that meant you were sleeping, idiot. You know, like
Right.
that's what it meant. They don't know how to read between the lines in a
Yeah,
language that they didn't learn when they were younger, right? Like
absolutely.
I think he used that to his advantage. He knew that he could get over on her because she doesn't understand.
Yeah. But also flipping the coin here, talking about all these moms leaving their kids behind, finding out that he's been married, he's got kids, he's got past due child support, and he's just ready to up and move to another country to
Yeah,
avoid paying child support and never seeing his kids again. Like, what is going on with these parents? You don't get to just have kids, leave the other parent and move to a different country and leave your problems behind. That's that. Don't stop having children. Stop it.
yeah,
Stop it.
you're right. This is a new twist too, because usually
Yeah,
when people on the show have kids, they're trying to implement their kids into what they're doing. And you're right.
absolutely.
This is a new thing that we're experiencing. The parents are like, well, I have kids, but I would rather have. Shekinah did it, and then Joe is trying to do it with Sean. She's like, well, my kids, I don't want my kids to get in the way of what I'm trying to do. You know, and that's a
Exactly.
new thing we're experiencing. You know, because in the beginning, we watched plenty of people on 90 Day Fiance who had kids, and then they tried to introduce their kids to the people, and then they tried to implement. No one's trying to really implement. They're just trying to do what they want to do, regardless of how people feel,
Yep.
and that's really scary, you know. And Lauren said before, he was like, well, I never wanted kids, it was my ex-wife who wanted kids. I was like, well, as a man, don't have children that you don't want,
Yeah.
because the law doesn't care how you felt when they were made. If you can't go to the judge and say, well, I didn't want them. They're like, well, they're here, so
Yeah.
that's irrelevant. If you didn't want them, you shouldn't have had them. Well, they're here now, so it's your responsibility. And the fact that he's just like, I'll just leave the country and never have to accept responsibility, you know, that's pretty, I don't know,
It's disgusting.
it's
It
just,
is disgusting.
I feel bad for the kids. I saw a video on TikTok. It was his ex-wife, and she said that Lauren's son wanted a, I don't know, Minecraft cake or maybe a Fortnite. I don't remember what it was. She couldn't afford it,
Yep.
and she made one at home, and it, you know, it was cute, but it didn't look like what you would buy at the store.
Right.
And I, it's harder for me when I see like the actual people that are suffering. So she showed the son's reaction. The son was still happy, but I was like, see, now it's real now.
Yeah.
Like I see that child, the child support should have bought that child a birthday cake on its birthday. Why is this child not getting what it needs once or whatever because you just don't want it. Like now it's real now. You know, like when you watch the commercial and there's a Sarah McLachlan song playing and there's these gorgeous cute animals and they're all being hurt. Now it's real. Now I have to give them money. You know, like now it's real. I can't just ignore it now. It's not just a sad
go to
fucking
the Humane Society and adopt all the animals. It's
well, right. Like now I have to send the money because now I've seen the damn cat and the dog and they're sad looking and I have to give it money.
Yes.
Like now it's real. So when I saw Lauren's son, and I was like, this is real. This is a human being that this child is neglecting. And it doesn't even have anything to open on his birthday. Now I'm mad. You know, like now I'm mad. Now I see what's really happening.
Yeah, it's disgusting. He's a vile human being. I feel like he should go and be with Rain or Renee. I don't know why.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, a lot of people online are saying that Renee is just a stand-in for Angela. That's what it was trending on X tonight. They were like, "Oh, we see who Renee is. She's a stand-in for Angela, while Angela's, you know, out of the good graces, she's standing in, you know, just holding her spot." And I kind of see that the way that she spoke to those people in their house. Look, I'm gonna tell you right now, Car. If somebody was talking to me that way in my home, you know, I'm gonna need you to come and hold me back.
Oh,
right? Like that. That's
if
crazy.
somebody was talking to you like that in your home, I'd be on my way and we'd both be
right. We would need to just get the credit card ready because you cannot get in my face and scream at me and tell me how you don't like me in my house. You're sleeping in my house.
We're not going to jail. It's your house. We got the right. We got the right.
I do not understand the level of disrespect. And even, I don't even want to say, because Angela never was like super disrespectful to Michael's family. I don't even want to put that on her because that's not true. She met his family. And
she was a few times, like when the mom was trying to teach her how to cook the Nigerian food. And she got pretty shitty.
Yeah.
There was
You're right. Yeah, I mean, she told Chitty to shut up. And I just felt like it was a little abusive. Like it was getting borderline abusive. And I was just like, and she was getting like pointing fingers. And then when she pointed the finger at Victoria's face, I was like, see, now this is taking a turn. She can see you. I was like, Chitty can't see how nasty you're being. I was like, he can't see, but he can see right through your bullshit. But he can't see how disrespectful you're being. But now that you're being disrespectful to the family, you know, after they welcomed you into their home, they fed you. You know, they gave you everything you needed, and this is the way that you speak to them. You know, like this is getting to the point where I don't know the character of the person that we're watching. You know, like what type of character? I was raised in the South, right? Like I was raised that you be respectful even if the person doesn't deserve respect. Like I was just raised if you're in someone's home, you're respectful. If you don't like the food, don't say anything. Just don't eat it. You know, don't be disrespectful and nasty to someone in their own home. And I thought everybody was raised like that. And I'm beginning to realize everybody ain't raised like that. Some people don't have any manners, right?
Yeah. She's a vile human being. But did you see the previews coming up for next week with Bea and Sunny?
No, I was watching it on Go and it cut off. What were the previews?
He finds out that the boyfriend's there.
That quick? With the same night?
Yeah, and he tells her, "Don't touch me." She's trying to like hold his hand or whatever, and he's like, "Don't touch me. Go touch your ex-boyfriend."
Oh,
yeah!
Oh my gosh!
Good one.
I mean,
I was sad they weren't on.
I thought that she would at least have kept him hidden for at least a few days. I mean, I don't think meeting the ex was ever going to be a good idea. Like, if all the people that she could have brought, she should have brought an emotional support animal, not like an ex-boyfriend. You know, like I think that bringing him was just the wrong choice. You know, but
because Sunny seemed so calm and so sweet, and all of this, you know, we're all just like, oh, this, you know, he's going to be devastated. He loses his mind. It's going to be good.
Oh, I can't wait. You know, I love to see a train wreck.
Oh yeah.
Where no people are actually injured. You know, I'd love to see that. So I'm excited to see that. And I mean, I didn't really see a real relationship between Bea and Sunny anyway, because she's made it 100% clear she would never convert for him, and he made it 100% clear that he would want her to convert. So I knew that this wasn't going to go anywhere. So I was just wondering how quickly it would deteriorate. And I guess I have my answer. It's going to deteriorate pretty much.
While we're talking about moms and kids and examples, look at Jessica and Juan. She took her kids and her bestie with her to make sure she still had the alone time with Juan. and brought her kids to see if it was going to be a match. Like,
Yeah.
that's what a good parent does.
Yeah, you're right. You don't go and get married and not tell anyone. 2 years
Yes.
later, yeah. I mean, and I remember too, because Megan went out there and she did not like that man. I remember because remember there was like a picture or something with another woman. There was something going on. One swears to God to this day nothing ever happened, but there
Yep.
was the possibility that something
Yeah.
happened. And I remember Megan was ready. She was like, I am ready to destroy this person.
Yes.
And she was there and he met the kids. He was good with the kids. And look, they're still together to this day. They're happy. They're married. He's
Yep.
here.
Yep.
So, and you're right, there's a right and a wrong way to do this. And I think a lot of the mothers are doing it the wrong way. And, you know,
Yeah.
I don't like to come down hard on women because I feel like women have it worse already. But at the same time, you know, you have to have good priorities, you know, and
Yeah.
when you have kids, and this goes for men too, Lauren, when you have kids, those need to be a priority in your life,
Yes.
right? Your relationship is important, but your kids, male or female, for you, your kids should be above whatever your relationship situation is. And I feel like we're losing that and
Absolutely.
people are becoming more selfish and like self-centered and like Shekinah, and she's like, oh, my kid's in boarding school, I'll just go back every 6 weeks. You would think she really went back every 6 weeks. I don't think she did.
No way.
It's BS.
No way.
Because if your daughter's in boarding school, she's not going to have any time. Like, kids aren't out of school every 6 weeks. They got Christmas, Thanksgiving, and spring break. So you would only go back for those 3 times. So she was
Yep.
gone for months at a time. And the school is raising her kid.
Yeah.
Your kid should be raised by you, right? You know, like, I know that I went to a Seventh-day Adventist school and they raised me, and that's what my mom wanted. But I should have been raised by my parents.
Yeah.
I should not have been raised by a school. You know, that's not how
I
it never should
couldn't
be that way.
handle. I had the hardest time letting someone babysit my kids while I worked. Like, I can't imagine. I never stayed the night away from them. I mean, obviously when they were older and as teenagers and whatever, and stayed the night at their friend's house. But like, I never. There's no way in hell I would leave for even a couple of days and just leave my kids behind. I just no way. I need to be close if something happens.
Yeah. And Tiger Lily went all the way to Jordan and got married. And I thought it was also weird that she didn't want her kids to be a part of the wedding.
Right.
Because I remember when my dad got married to his second wife, I think, he wanted us, the kids, to be a part of it. Obviously, my mom didn't let us, but he still wanted us to be there. I thought it was weird that she was getting married and didn't want to include, because that's like a very family, big situation event, you know,
Yeah.
and she didn't even want her kids to see it. You know, I thought that was really, it's just odd the way, and that she doesn't speak of her kids. It's like they don't exist. I've never met a mom like that.
Yep.
You know, usually a mother will work her children into a conversation in some way, shape, or form.
Yep.
And Tiger Lily, she's super good at making it seem like she's a 22-year-old woman with no kids. Like, if you didn't know her backstory, you wouldn't know that she had any kids. She don't talk about them. That's really weird.
Absolutely. It baffles me. I don't get it.
Okay, so this season of the 49 Days, we're only 7 episodes in, and I am so entertained. I was talking on Twitter tonight, and people were like, I have not been this excited about 90 Day Fiance in a while, and I agree, me neither. I haven't been this excited.
Because it's all new people. None of these people are recycled.
Right.
So this is all new dumpster fires for us.
And they all are triggering me in different ways.
Yeah.
And this was the feelings that I used to get back in the day, you know, back when Nicole and Azen were on, and who else did I love? Danielle and Muhammad, and what's her name? Brittany and Yazan. Those people used to get me excited, you know, about the show. And I was like, this is the first time I was like, I was doing other stuff, and then I was like, ooh, what time is it? Is it the show on? I was ready to watch it. I haven't felt like that in a while. So I'm just happy that they're still manufacturing drama, but there's still enough real drama to keep it interesting, and I'm just happy about that.
Me too.
All right, so we're gonna wrap, and we're gonna talk about tomorrow is the other way, and there's I Love a Mama's Boy that's gonna be new as well. 1,000 Pound Sisters came on last week. I don't know if y'all watched that or not, so we need to figure out a way to work that in, because I want to talk about 1,000 Pound Sisters, because there's some drama on 1,000 Pound Sisters that I want to talk about as well. We'll be back tomorrow. If we can't do it all tomorrow, maybe we'll do something on Tuesday too, but we'll figure it out so we can catch up on all those shows. And if y'all aren't watching House of Villains, it's 2 episodes in. It's actually really good.
So
So
good.
if you're not watching, watch it, because I don't want to talk about it if y'all haven't seen it.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't want to ruin it for anyone. But if y'all are gonna watch it, I want to talk about it. It's actually really good. Season 2, New York is back. I'll give you that. That's all I'm giving you. New York from I Love New York is back this season. So that's all I'm gonna give y'all. Okay, so follow me on all social media platforms at George Mossey, georgemossey.com. Maybe get your podcast type in the George Mossey Show. Make sure you're following my co-host Cara. She's tagged in this video. The replay is going to be up on all streaming platforms. Thanks for staying up late with us. Happy Canadian Thanksgiving to anyone in Canada.
Happy
I
Canadian
realize.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, guys. I didn't know y'all got my favorite holiday first. No, it's not my favorite. I like Halloween, but I do like cake and pie, so I do. All right,
Me
guys,
too.
everybody, have a wonderful night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.